Good evening, people. Puss, dog, rat, lizard, donkey, horse, and every other creature out there, insect, spider. Greetings. I am just out here enjoying this nice weather, and I figure I just talk about a topic that makes a lot of sense to me. May not make a lot of sense to other people, but it makes a lot of sense to me. So what is this topic? The topic is inherently, is black people poor, or is it a poor management of their money? Now, it's quite self-evident that every year, just in America alone, the spending power of black people, I believe the last time I checked was 1.4 trillion. Not the T like the thousand, not the M like million, not the B like billion, but the T like trillion. Do you know that I'm from Jamaica and that's more than Jamaica's GDP and annual budget and every fucking thing? 1.4 trillion US dollars. How is black people poor if they have, and they're just playing with the 1.4 trillion? Because if we really get to spending, especially in holiday times, man, we getting the 800 this, we getting the 20,000 that, we getting the 50,000 this, we doing it. Our chain can't be 22 inches, no. Our chain have to be 40 inches. So please explain to me how black people is poor again. How are you gonna say you're poor if you live in the hood, you're on government assistance, but you have an $800 iPhone? Or you have a game system that's worth $400 or $500. How are you poor with 2 cars in the parking lot? How are you poor when you can have a roof over your head? And how are you poor when all you have to do is basically just go ahead, turn the pipe on, and everything is all right? What going on, Pooch? See the dog? He might come say hi to me. Everybody want to say hi to me. See that? That's the way it is. Well, go on. Hey, don't bite me now. You and yourself. You and your beautiful eyes. Even your eyes look brown. Look for you. Me know, man. Me know. See him? He might go on because him know what I go on. See him? Of course him know what I go on. Yes. But back to my conversation. So what I'm saying is, if you have an $800 phone, isn't that somebody's rent? Isn't that a car? Isn't that money that you could use to open a small business? How are you poor? Now, the reason why I'm saying this is I've done an experiment with myself on saving. And I'm like, this is just some pocket change, you know. What I'm going to do is I am going to make sure that every time I have $1 and I go to the store, I purposely break the dollar so I could get change. And at the end of the day, what I'm going to do with that change is I'm going to take that change and I'm going to take that change and put it in one of those big 5-gallon water bottles. And I did that for a whole year straight. Didn't really think too much of it. Excuse me. But guess what? Just with pocket change alone, at the end of the year, I was able to save $1,067. Just by emptying my pocket every night when I come home from work, I was able to save $1,067. Just pocket change. No, am I rich? No. Am I broke? No. Well, what am I? Well, that pocket change that I really didn't think that mean that much. And at the end of the year, I realized it was $1,067. That pocket change that I didn't think about after that year, I really could have that money to open a business. I didn't have to wait till tax season. I didn't have to get no refund or no loan or nothing. That is enough to start a small business. And what do I mean a small business? Well, everybody want the $20,000 in the building, and they want the inventory, and they want everything ready. And 5 years later on, they're out of business. Meanwhile, I would start slow, start small, scale up, work my way up, slowly but surely. The money that I make, I would reinvest in the business and grow the business that way. We are in the age of social media, so I could always get my free advertisement that way. Whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook. We're in a different time right now. So, you pretty much have to be creative, but you don't have to physically have that much money. You just have to have a good idea that is guaranteed, something that people want, a service, and we're good to go. So when I say black people is not poor, excuse me, how can you be poor with a $200 pair of damn sneaker on your feet? I want you to understand what I'm saying, because if I'm eating something and it falls on the ground, that's considered garbage to me. So the shoes is just like any other shoes. It walks on dirt. Its purpose is to protect you from getting dirty by getting dirty itself. So you have all different type of prices. How are you poor if you have a $200 shoes on and a $2,000 chain on? How are you poor? Because maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm dumb. But $2,000 is also a small business. That's also rent, mortgage, whatever else you want to call it. So what I'm saying now is, if you're broke, why take the $2,000 chain to a pawn shop only to borrow $300, and because you cannot pay back the $300, you would rather sacrifice the $2,000 chain? I don't think that's being broke. I think that's just being stupid. So, or intelligence challenge. Maybe it's me. If I have a chain that's worth $2,000, that's like collateral, right? So wouldn't there be a better deal out there? And if I'm going to borrow $300, wouldn't I borrow it so I could take the money to make more money, instead of messing up my money on the rent, going partying for the weekend, going to get a new outfit, going to get some new shoes, going to the weed man house, going to the alcohol place, going to the club, paying all this type of money. And now when next week come, I have problems paying my rent, even though I work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Am I really poor? Or do I really need to be responsible for my actions? because it really seems like I am not being responsible with my finances. And it even gets so bad where some of us, this is my belief system. My belief system is the older you get, the more you're supposed to learn and the more you're supposed to stop doing the same things. So some of us get to the point where we will die and our loved ones will have to find the funeral money to bury us. Because we were so irresponsible with life, we couldn't even secure a hole to be put in when we die. Even though we've been here for 80 years. So you've been here for 80 years and you still haven't figured it out yet, how to ascertain this piece of paper. So they say black people is poor, right? I don't believe that. I was born in Jamaica. I am from Africa. I am African. My ancestors were stolen, probably was sold, probably all different type of things. Regardless, I ended up over here in this Western world. The people that are Jamaicans know what I mean when I say partner. Now, the Haitians have a different name for it, and the Africans have a different name for it. What partner is, for people that don't know, is an ancient way of saving where you have a whole bunch of people come together and we say we are going to throw $150 a week for 10 weeks. And every week, somebody will get what the whole pot adds up to for the 10 weeks. Say, for instance. So the first week, let's say the pot adds up to $2,000 for the entirety of the time. The first week, somebody get $2,000. But just because they get their $2,000, they still have to throw all the way to the end because everybody still need their money. And at the end of the day, everybody have their money. It's based upon trust, and it's also based upon consistency. So let's say, wow, look at the guinea hen, little baby fold them. Look at the guinea hen fold them. Wow, and look at the mother coming down. Look at that. Man, I'm telling you, I'm in a gifted neighborhood. Look at the guinea hen fowl. Look at the little baby them. All of them. I'm talking about, got to love nature. In my neighborhood, everything happens. Okay, I digress. I believe we're not poor. I believe we poorly deal with our money system, our money situation. And it's so easy to go out and blow $15 on a breakfast or a lunch or even a dinner. And then while you're out, you know you got to get some snacks. You might get thirsty. You know you need to get some snacks. That's probably another $5. Then, you know, while you're out, you might see something that, you know, tempt your eyes, so you go and get it because it's only $5. And before you know it, you spend $50 today. Just random spending. Not even something that you plan on doing. Worse if you go to a mall. Oh, don't let me see this t-shirt that I like. Don't let me see this pants I like. Oh, I like that shoes. I gotta get it. So what I'm thinking about is this. There is a very relevant part of this that nobody seems to be talking about, and that is called credit. See, we don't know anything about credit in Jamaica, because if you don't have the money, you just don't get it. It's not like I don't have the money, but I can get it and I'll pay you later. No. First, you have to save up the money. And when you have all of the money, plus the taxes, then you can get it. So I think the credit system kind of messed things up, or messed people's minds up, because it kind of gives them a sense of security to feel like I can have time to pay it off. And my thing is like this. If I have the time to pay $20,000 off, and with the interest will add up to $5,000 more. Wouldn't it be better off saving up the $20,000, spending it, and then saving up the $5,000, and then spend it on something that can actually make back more money? Or wouldn't it be better to pay the rent on time instead of paying the rent late when I know I have a late fee, and now I'm giving out more money than I have to give out in the first place? I mean, I'm not a genius, but that only makes sense to me. Well, what are we talking about? Or you remember when you go to the Arab store to go cash a check and they charge you 2%? And you really didn't think that 2% was nothing because it was convenient for you? And at the end of the year, when you add it up of all the 2% that they charge you, you add it up, and at the end of the year, it might be anywhere from $500 to $1,000 that you paid, but all you had to do was get a bank account, and you could have cashed your check for free. That $1,000 that you had gotten because they charge you the 2%, the $500 to $1,000, they charge you because you decide you want to be convenient and go to the Arab store instead of opening a bank account. Well, guess what? That $1,000 could have really gone to something that was beneficial. But you're poor though, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I know that last Christmas, which I don't celebrate, but other people do, obviously, so we're gonna talk about the other people for a split second. So I don't celebrate Christmas. I was standing at a bus stop and I see a car stop by, and a child handed out something in the window, and it was an envelope, and it had $50 in it. So those people have money to give away. And I still have the envelope to this day. I saved that $50 and I thank that person, whoever they are. If they're watching, I thank them. But the point of the matter, what I'm saying is, they obviously have it like that to give away because they did give it to me and somebody else that was there at that bus stop. But how are you poor if you're giving $1,000 away? Okay. Let's take this from a different direction. Let's say you say you're poor, right? But you smoke cigarettes and you drink alcohol and you probably even do some drugs. So knowing how my people are, we know that this is an everyday thing, because anything we touch turns to gold. We go to the extreme. So let's just be on the conservative side right now and say we do that every day. And let's say the cost of that is $20 a day. So $20 today, 7 times 20 is $140. So that's $140 that I'm spending a week. We're just being conservative. So that's $140 that we're spending a week on alcohol, some drugs, some cigarettes. We're just being conservative. So 2 weeks, that's $280. 4 weeks, that would be $560 for the month. But you say you're poor though. So, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that if I spend $20 a day, or if I take the same $20 and I get a $20 drawer, and I say every day I'm going to put $20 in this drawer, do you know at the end of the year you will have over $5,000 if you don't touch it, just by putting $20 a day saved up? Now, that's $5,000 for 1 year. Let's say you're making $1,000, or let's say you're making $600-700. You trying to tell me that you can't put $140 away a week, or you can't put away $20 a day? In 5 years, that's $25,000 or better. How are you poor? Are you poor, or is it a poor thinking? Is it a poor handling of your resources? I don't think you're poor. How are you poor if your rent is due and the police officer pull you over, give you a ticket for $200, and whoop-de-doo, out of the miracle blue, you find a way to get it. And if there's another thing that comes up that you think is an emergency, that you think you might get in trouble for, you are going to find that. So, in retrospect, are you poor, or are you just making an excuse for you not being excuse me, for you not being responsible enough for your affairs? The reason why I'm saying that is I'm Jamaican. This is what I meant when I said I'm Jamaican. I know plenty Jamaican, Haitian, African, different type of people that come here piss poor, broke, don't have nothing but $1 to their name, if that. And guess what? They started off with one job. When they worked and get their money, get their pay, guess what they did first? Before they save, they spend. But what are they spending on? I thought spending is not good if you not poor. Yeah, the first thing they spend on is the bills that is most important to them. Their rent, the roof over their head, the food, something in their stomach, and things like the communication, which is the phone bill. Those are usually the three most important bills, unless it's like transportation or something. So they put the money where it belongs first, paying the bills. You know what happens with the rest of it? With the rest of it that's left over, They save at least 30 to 50% of that. And then the rest of it, they will go do their leisure spending on. Now, some people can call that frugal. Some people can call that cheap. I call that something that works. Because guess what? If I'm poor, I should not have the ability to do that. Because people that are poor is still able to survive off of $1 a day. By the way, do you know that most people in the world, out of 8 billion people, like more than half of those 8 billion people survive off of $1 or $2 a day? So we're over here and we spend $15 and we're like, that's nothing. Do you know in other countries, you take $15 and that could feed you for 2 weeks? So I think what it is, and look at this, ackee. Somebody done cut the ackee tree down. They probably don't know what it is, so they cut it down. I know what it is. We will have to get on this topic one day with the ackee tree. I will have to tell you the benefits of it right now. The quick thing I can tell you is it's good for diabetes. So you can take the leaves and boil it, and it's good for diabetes, arthritis, and so on. But we're talking about money right now, and are we really poor? So we can get back to that later on. So I digress. But what I'm saying is, I know people are out there that, yes, when it gets hard, I have to do what I have to do. And if I'm in a poor country or quote unquote third world country, I will be surviving off of pretty much $1 or less a day, which means I'm not more than likely gonna eat too much meals. Now, if you're in a country or an environment like Florida where you have warm weather, more than likely there are tropical plants that grows wild, like mangoes, coconuts, different things, star fruit, that you probably can eat off the land and survive. But we're talking about over here in the US. People say black people are poor. No, they're not. They act poor with their money. They make poor decisions. But by far, they're not poor. If you have an $800 iPhone, or you have the brand newest iPhone, or the newest Jordans, or you have a brand new car that you're leasing, you're not poor. Do you know that in some country, when you have 2 cars in the parking lot, every room have a TV and a computer? You have iPods, iPhone, all of the gadgets. You have clothes that you can wear every day. You have food that you can eat. You have electricity. Do you know that you would be considered rich in some other countries? Like, filthy rich? No, but you say you're poor though. You're the one that say you're poor. Because I don't know what poor is. I don't know what poor is if you get your tax money or you get an inheritance, true story. You get an inheritance because your aunt died. And when your aunt died, she left you an inheritance of a house, some money, life insurance, different things. And your perfect idea was to go ahead and quit your good job. The job that you had for 5-10 years, you just, I don't need it no more. I need to quit because I got some money now. So Oh, you don't need to, wait a minute. Oh, so you don't need to live to 65. It's just all about right now, right? And no lie, within 2 to 3 years, that person was broke and could not get their job back and could not find a job. So was that person really poor? No, I don't think they were really poor. I think they made poor decisions that amount to them experiencing that. Now, I'm from a place where when you don't have nothing going on, you make something go on. What does that mean? Remember that ackee tree I just showed you? The one on the sidewalk? With people cutting it down and throwing it down the side? Excuse me. Let's just say this. At a point in my life, I was in a transition of life. Some people would say, or some people would call it homelessness. I call it I was transitioning. What does that mean? I was going from one phase of my life to another phase. You know, you have different seasons in your life. So I was going from one phase to another phase where I was not able to dig in deep until I was forced to. But nevertheless, you see that ackee tree back there on the sidewalk? Yes. Even though I was what some people would call homeless, I would actually go and get that ackee and find somebody that wanted and sell it and make money. And I was not ashamed because I was making my money the honest way. Also, around that time, I go into the stores and I see coconuts. And as you can see, there are coconut trees all over, including behind me and everywhere. So, you mean I have coconut trees around me? And nobody don't want them. But they're in the store. So that means the store might want it then. Guess what I did? I went to the damn store manager and asked them how much do they charge or get charged for their coconut and how I can supply it to them for a cheaper rate. And got an account. Excuse me. So, was I poor then? No. All I had to do was use my creativity, which is where the real funding comes from. Because people don't understand, you get paid for ideas and services. So if you consider yourself poor and you do everything to keep yourself poor, yes, you are poor. If you don't have the money, but in your mind you have a good idea and you want to work towards that idea, you are no longer poor. So this discussion about black people being poor, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I don't. Why? For instance, you know how much money people spend just going out to the club to go fucking eat, to go buy alcohol, to go buy drugs, to go buy some shoes? You know how much money people spend every year, every month? How are you going to be poor but you're spending thousands of dollars every month on shoes and clothes, on drugs, alcohol? How are you poor? What if you were to take that same money and go invest it in a business? What if you were to take that same money and go buy some products? What if you were to take that same money, go buy a house and flip it? What if you were to take that money, buy a car, fix it up and flip it? What if you were to take that money, go to trade school to go learn a trade? So are you really poor? I don't think you're poor. I think you might make poor decisions. That is not necessarily beneficial to you and your life. But you know, we got to keep up with the Joneses because I can't make everybody make me look bad because this is my next door neighbor, and if they get a new car, I have to get one too. Yeah, but you don't know the sacrifice that neighbor had to go through. You don't know what that neighbor had to go through in order to reach this point. Well, I deserve it. Okay. Well, did you earn it? What do you mean? Well, did you earn it? Did you work for it? Did you do anything to get it? No, I deserve it. Shit, he got one, well, I can't get one. Well, you only deserve something when you earn it. Because at the end of the day, nobody owes you anything. That's just like me saying that, you know what? They owe me something because I feel like I deserve it. Yeah, I ain't work, but they're supposed to give me unemployment anyways. I deserve it. And I'm like, how does that work? So you see, people will say that they deserve things, but they're not willing to work for it. They're not even willing to earn it. But you deserve it. And you see, the problem with that mentality is, that is the mentality that keeps you poor. Because instead of saying, this is where I am, this is what I have, this is what I have to work with, let me sit down and think about what I need to do with this and see the best way I can capitalize on this, utilize this, and make it grow or make it multiply. No. That would make too much sense. How about I just go spend it right now, don't worry about tomorrow, and when tomorrow comes, stress myself out about how I'm going to go through the day. Meanwhile, what I used to do when I used to work for other people, I used to ask myself one important question. What can I afford not to miss from my paycheck? So let's say I get a paycheck for $500. If I take $20 out of that paycheck, would I miss it? Out of $500? Would that be a big chunk where I'm like, oh man, that's gonna mess me up till next week? No. What about $100? If I take $100 out, would that affect me? Or would it be more like something that I have to discipline myself about? Because believe it or not, when I was working for other people, yes, I used to get all the overtime I could. Yes, I used to get all the holiday pay I could. And yes, I used to save $1,000 a month. Well, how the hell you save $1,000 a month? You must have been making $20,000. I was making $15 an hour, y'all. How did I do it? Well, quarter of 1,000 is 225. So that means that's what I need to save every week. And I need to make that mandatory and necessary. Do you know that at the end of the year I ended up with $12,000? Just by saving $225 a week and not touching it? And if I do touch it, replace it as soon as possible? Because emergency do come up. So That in turn can be your emergency money, but at the same time, you could also make sure you replace it just in case you break your own word. So long story short, all right, they coming down the do not enter, do your thing. So what I'm saying is it really the resources that you have, or is it really what you're doing with the resources that you have? Is it the lack of having resources, or is it the lack of being disciplined with your resources? Because you see people that are poor, they can't really do too much. They can't really accomplish too much. They really can't buy too much things. They're hungry and they don't really have a choice. You know, if they need something, they're not really going to have a choice but not to get it because they don't have it like that. It's not like, I'm thirsty, let me go get a soda. I have the munchies, so let me go get a burger and some fries. I like this shirt, so let me get that. No, that's not poor people. Poor people is not in a position like that. No, there are poor mind states where you can have all the funds or capital in the world, but because you don't know what to do with it, you ain't got shit to show for it. Now remember I said I was Jamaican? And Jamaicans and Haitians come up here in 5 years, they have a business, they have a house, they have an apartment for rent, they're doing all different type of things. What is so special about those people? How come the people that was born and raised in this society don't have that mastered already? And how come it takes somebody that come over here didn't even have dry shit in their ass to come over here and do something like that? And now you want to beat them getting mad and being jealous when you're the one who said you're not willing to work for $5. Meanwhile, that person is working 2 jobs at $5 an hour. Just an example. And not only 2 jobs, they're trying to find another one. And if they don't find another one, they're trying to find some type of hustle on the side. So you mean to tell me that you were born in the system, you know exactly how the system works in and out. You know everything about the system. You were born with a gold spoon in your mouth, nobody don't need to teach you anything. And you mean to tell me that somebody that just came to this country, they don't know nothing about the system, they have to figure everything out. They even have to learn the language. You mean to tell me in 5 years of that person coming here, they're either a millionaire or they have things going on that show improvement on their life, and you've been here all your life and you don't have nothing to show for it? Now what's the problem with that picture? Is it because you're poor? Or is it a poor management of your resources? That's what I need to know. So if black people is poor, no, they're not. They just handle their resources wrong. 1.4 trillion? Come on, you're not poor. Come on, people. We got to get it together. For real. This is your neighborhood